This major dip in the player count of Hogwarts Legacy is gonna have you saying,
"Where's everyone going? Bingo?"
Hogwarts Legacy has been a record-breaking hit, selling millions of copies right out of the gate and surpassing even Elden Ring in UK sales. Despite the controversy surrounding the title and the wider Harry Potter IP, fans excitedly turned out in droves to join the titular school and learn magic from the greats.
Okay, class. As you know from your reading, a Hydra's temperature can only be taken rectally.
Despite that initial wave of success, however, Hogwarts Legacy has recently seen a heavy drop in player count. According to data from Steam charts, the average concurrent player count has decreased by slightly more than half within the last month. As of March 21st, the average concurrent player count has dropped from more than 270,000 players to a little more than 131,000 players, showing a dramatic fall in the number of students enrolling at Hogwarts at one time. Of course, it is certainly worth pointing out that these figures do not tell us how many people are still playing Hogwarts Legacy on various other platforms, as these statistics only account for players with Steam accounts. It is entirely possible that a great number of gamers are still playing the wizarding title on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X or S. The game will likely see another increase in popularity when the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch editions finally arrive.
I have a feeling that was the idea.
While it's difficult to nail down precisely why so many players have stopped attending Hogwarts Legacy on Steam, at least not as frequently as they once did, there are a few factors that could be pointed to. One of the biggest and most obvious things working against Hogwarts Legacy, and any popular new game really, is that new games are always still coming out. Hogwarts Legacy was released in a bit of a vacuum, hitting stores during a brief time frame in which it didn't have any major competition to speak of, which in turn allowed it to immediately and mightily dominate the sales charts and capture players' attention.
Now it is time to add your own story to these hallowed halls.
But now that newer experiences are hitting the shelves and digital marketplaces, the stranglehold Hogwarts Legacy has over the gaming populace seems to have weakened somewhat. In the last few weeks, players have been diving into newer titles like Bayonetta Origins and Atomic Heart, testing out new peripherals such as the PlayStation VR 2, or even returning to nostalgic faves like Metroid Prime Remastered. But the other games aren't the only things standing in the way of Hogwarts Legacy. The game's limited scope may also be to blame for the steady drop in player numbers.
Something is troubling you. Am I right, Harry?
The main factor that may be contributing to the waning popularity of Hogwarts Legacy is the simple fact that it's a single-player game with no real endgame or bonus modes to pad out the experience. Once players wrap up the main story campaign in Hogwarts Legacy, there's just not much else to do. Hogwarts Legacy doesn't offer any co-op elements, so players can't link up with friends for some friendly dueling. On top of that, it's unclear where or not Hogwarts Legacy will receive any kind of DLC in the future. As game director Alan Tu told IGN last month, "We've been really heads down bringing Hogwarts Legacy to life, so at the moment there are no current plans for DLC. In other words, once you beat the game, that's pretty much it. Players are certainly encouraged to go hunt down every last collectible to try and unlock the near impossible Collector's Edition trophy. But that's really only for the most focused and dedicated Hogwarts Legacy enthusiasts. Most players seem to be more than okay with moving on to the next game once they beat the single-player story. The same thing happened with Cyberpunk 2077. And much like that game, it's likely that Hogwarts Legacy could see a resurgence in player popularity if/when more updates roll out. Until then, players can still enjoy some ridiculous Hogwarts Legacy mods, right?
Magic is no different than any power. What really matters is the one who wields it.